Nobody, and I mean nobody, can hit 80% in the NBA over any period of time. Nobody can hit 70% in the NBA over any long period of time. You can get on a hot streak. You can hit, 70% or 80% for a week, even for a month. I've been on some really hot runs in my lifetime. I've been in Vegas since 98 and betting on the NBA every year since I've been here. And sometimes I've gone on some monster NBA runs that last a month, 2, 3. But nobody can hit 70, 80% over any extended period of time. Why? Look at what just happened in the first 2 games of the Eastern or Western Conference Finals, the conference finals. 4 possible sides and totals. You had you could have had the Knicks or the Cavs. You could have had the Spurs or the Thunder, and you could have over/under. So each game had 4 possibilities. 3 of the 4 right sides lost. All right, lost. You had a right side on both unders. Did either under cash? Nope. What happened? One took double overtime, one took single overtime, but both unders lost, even though both unders were clear right sides. I mean, the one took double overtime. The Spurs Thunder took double OT to get to the over, but it got there, which means if you had the right side in that game, you lost. Similar story when you talk about, and San Antonio was the right side from a point spread standpoint, but Knicks Cavs, you lost if you had the total price correctly, which you went under in regulation and over in OT, and you lost if you had Cleveland, who was a clear right side and then got outscored 44-11 over the last 12 and a half minutes of that ball game, where the game ended on a monster Knicks run, obviously, both at the end of regulation and in OT. So Cleveland was the right side and they lost. The under was the right side. It lost. The Spurs and the Thunder, the under was the right side and lost. So even when you handicap a game perfectly, even when you handicap a game correctly, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to cash that ticket. It doesn't guarantee it. Weird things can and do happen. What does that mean for Game 2, OKC San Antonio tonight? Let's talk about it. Teddy covers WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for Wednesday night NBA. Looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen right now, I'm seeing mostly minus, it's kind of a split now, the -7s / -7.5 for Oklahoma City. We are seeing money for the Thunder at a number of different books. DK moved to 7.5, FanDuel's at 7.5 right now, MGM's at 7.5 right now, 7 here in Vegas, 7 in the global markets, but 7.5 in a number of books. Total sitting in the 216.5 / 217 / 217.5 range. There is some variance right now for both side and total. One of the beauty benefits of the Odds Logic live odds screen is you don't have to shy look in your phone. Let's log in here, log in there. No, you look on your Odds Logic live odds screen. You go, oh, I'm going to make this bet here now. Boom, 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 done. Get a free trial. oddslogic.com / Teddy for your free 7-day trial. I encourage you, check it out. But anyhow, Thunder, let's call it 7. There are some 7.5s out there. Total let's call it 217, 216.5, wherever you want to go for this one. And really, I talked about why even when you're right, even the best bettors in the world, they're not going to hit 80%. They're not going to hit 70%. You can hit 60% long-term in the NBA. You've done something really, really well because in any sport. By money lines in baseball, you can hit 60%, but it doesn't mean you're going to make a profit. But if you're hitting 60% plus in any sport, you're doing a lot of things right because there is a fair bit of randomness at some of the end of these games because you can have right sides that lose, like the Cavs, like the 2 unders. How does that play out tonight? Again, we have OKC and San Antonio. And look, the Thunder have been real good in Game 2s. 2 Game 2s so far this year. They've won them both by double-digit margins, I think 13 and 17. Game 2s last year, they beat Memphis 118 to 99, so that'd be a 19-point win in that one. They lost to Denver in Game 1 of the semifinals last year of the West, and they beat them by 43 in Game 2 at home. Minnesota, they beat by 15 at home. Indiana, who they lost to in Game 1, they beat by 16 at home. So it's been in the Game 2s for OKC over the last 2 postseasons. We are talking about 6-0 straight up in those ball games, and that is significant. Obviously, winning all those games by double-digit mark. They didn't cover every point spread only because some of the point spreads were higher. but I think it's 5-1 ATS, maybe for OKC. They've been very, very good in this particular role. Now, full season off a loss, Thunder are modest. They're 9-9 ATS, and winning those games, not by huge margin. I think by good margin, but not by a crazy margin, by 8+ points a game. But so they weren't an insane point spread team ATS off a loss. That said, they've been in this exact spot before, losing twice at home in game 1 last year. They bounced back both times with big wins, and they've been able to be pretty dominant in these game 2s. No question about that. There's another factor when we talk about OKC, how we like them conceptually in this spot. And that has to do with fatigue issues. Obviously, the Thunder swept each of their first 2 opponents. They're the much fresher of these 2 teams. And then you look at the minutes from game 1. Yeah, Shea played 51 in the double overtime special. Holmgren played 41. Those are the only 2 guys over 34 minutes. For San Antonio, Champagne 44, Wembanyama 49, Vassell 51, Castle 49, Harper 47. So each of their 5 starters played 44+ minutes. They were already the team that had less rest coming in. Certainly, you can understand why there has been some sharp support for OKC in this. The track record is there, and no question. If one of these 2 teams is gassed tonight, we would expect it to be the San Antonio Spurs, who realistically, you talk about the minutes that they played, coming off the grueling series that they just had, that is something of a concern for this better in this ballgame. No question. And let's not forget, all right, the San Antonio Spurs, we talk about OKC, they've been there. They've done that. They did this last year. San Antonio, not so much. Darren Fox, who has some postseason experience, but he didn't even play in game 1. Harrison Barnes barely played in game 1, and the rest of the team, the playoff experience is very limited. And it's worth noting that Fox injury, again, we're talking about the Spurs starting point guard. And Wembanyama hit all those shots and, got the headlines and, Harper had a great game and so on and so forth. But when your starting point guard is missing postseason games, you have to feel like it's going to affect your team. And the Spurs don't have a game in them better than the one they just played. They were actually brilliant down the stretch and in OT. I think you see where I'm going here. But first, before I go any further, let me let you know what's going on right now over at wagertalk.com. What do I got? I got some pretty good stats to show you. I'm up 29 units at MLB, hitting 58% there. The NBA playoffs over the last 5 years, 58% in the NBA postseason. We split last night. I got lucky with the Knickerbockers. I'll take it. I'll take it. And because there are plenty of times where you get unlucky. You're like, oh, my God, what's going on? This is one that, all right, I'd rather be lucky than, and that's the truth of it. I'd rather be lucky than good. I'd rather cash a ticket that I'm wrong than not cash a ticket that I'm right. So we cashed with the Knicks last night in the NBA postseason. It's been good. You can check out all the plays. Wagertalk.com, my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. And there are really great deals going on right now, whether you're talking about a 30-day all-access pass, get 10 days free, and then take $100 off. So you get 40 days for the price, basically of 20. You have a 3-day all-access pass. You have a full year pass. Whatever you're looking for, check it out, wt.buzz/TC. Let's see if you and I can make some money together this summer and beyond. And, of course, one last thing. Please give us a like, a comment, and subscribe. I keep on saying we're just shy of 250,000. We really are just shy of 250,000. We're going to get to 250,000 in the next couple of days, the next week. Depends on how many you click up to subscribe right now. But like, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be at 250,000 sooner rather than later. Thank you. You get instant alerts when these videos go live when you hit subscribe. So I talked about OKC's success when it comes to winning these game 2s. Talk about OKC's success in the postseason, coming off a loss. They've been very, very good in that regard. I talked about the Spurs with their issues with their minutes played, the Spurs with the fatigue issues, the Spurs without the point guard. You know where I'm going here, all right? If we're playing, we're laying. It's Thunder or pass for this better tonight. The one concern here is if the series is, one of the things I talked about going into the postseason is that when a series is mispriced in game 1, it's going to be mispriced the whole way. And the betting mark's telling us that OKC's, a notch or two better than San Antonio. That may not end up being the case. But from a game 2 standpoint, I could only lay the points with the favorite. I'm in play for the total for the clients. Check it out again, wt.buzz/TC if you want to get on board. But if I'm playing the side, it's Thunder -7 or pass for this better. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Best of luck with all your bets on Wednesday night and beyond. And of course, stay tuned for more quality video content right here on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel. Cheers, guys. Have a great day.